Hello everyone. I am going to continue with my previous topic, which is basic postulates of quantum mechanics. In our previous class we have discussed about the first postulate, which is about state of a system, which will be described using a wave function. In our today's class, let us see another two postulate. The second postulate, which deals with observable and operator, while the third is with respect to the probabilistic outcome of measurement, or in simple words, the expectation value. So let's begin. First, let us see postulate number 2, which is about observable and operator. Observable is nothing but a physical quantity which we generally define in case of classical physics, and operators are the mathematical representation of those physical quantities in case of quantum physics. So the statement is something like, for every physical quantity or for every observable, there exists an Hermitian operator or a matrix. It means that for every observable, let us say position, momentum, that is linear momentum as well as angular momentum, energy, Hamiltonian, for each of these physical quantities, there will be corresponding Hermitian operator or Hermitian matrix related to that observable is the meaning of this postulate. So the operators in quantum mechanics are derived from the Poisson's bracket of corresponding pair of classical variables according to the relation as shown. So in classical mechanics, we know Poisson brackets play a very important role, and these govern the time evolution of Hamiltonian dynamical system. And the same Poisson bracket representation is used here, and this provides a direct link from the classical physics to the quantum physics, where we get for every observable a corresponding operator. So in the LHS, these are the quantum brackets with operators Q and R in it, whereas in the RHS we have the Poisson bracket with Q, R. These are the physical quantities or observables. So from this equation directly we can link between the observable as well as operator, means from classical physics to quantum physics. So this is a meaning of postulate number 2. And we have already derived some of the operators in our previous classes. So let us see in brief what are the observables, what is their classical form, and what are the corresponding operators based on our previous relation. The first observable, let us consider position. In classical form, we just represent it as x, y, z, or in general as r. Whereas the corresponding operators for x will be x cap, for y it will be y cap, for z it will be z cap. Second physical quantity or observable, let us say linear momentum. In classical form, we just represent it as px, which will be the linear momentum directed along x-axis. Similarly, py, pz, or in general we say as p, which is the total linear momentum. The corresponding operators will be, for px it will be minus ih cross dou by dou x, for py it will be minus ih cross dou by dou y. Similarly for pz, or in general we can say p will be equal to minus ih cross del. So this is the corresponding operator. The derivation which we have already solved, you can just refer it. The third observable I am going to see is the energy, represented as E in classical form. The corresponding operator is ih cross dou by dou t. Then comes the kinetic energy, represented as T. Corresponding operator will be minus h cross square by 2m into del square. Then another important term, that is Hamiltonian, which is nothing but the total energy of the system, represented as H, and the operator corresponding to H, that is H cap, will be equal to the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy, that will be minus h cross square del square by 2m plus v cap of x. So in this way we can just link the classical form to the quantum form by giving the mathematical representation as operators. So all the derivations we have already solved. You can just refer those from previous videos. And from these only we can just derive the Schrödinger equation. What is eigenvalue equation? If a wave function is taken and an operator is operated on the wave function, it will give the same wave function with a constant. That is the meaning of eigenvalue equation. And that wave function will be the eigenfunction and the corresponding constant will be the eigenvalue. That is, I can just write h cap into xi is equals to E into xi, where h cap is the Hamiltonian which is operated on the wave function xi will give the energy eigenvalue capital E into the same wave function xi. And in our previous slide we have already seen that h cap is nothing but minus h cross square by 2m into del square plus v of x into xi will be equal to I h cross dou by dou t of xi. Here we have just substituted the value of Hamiltonian operator and energy. So when you substitute, this equation is the Schrödinger equation. So here rearrangement can be done, but this is how using the operators we can obtain the Schrödinger equation, which is the basis of quantum mechanics, or we can say this equation is the equation of motion in case of quantum physics. So this is about postulate number 2. Now let us switch over to the third postulate, which is about the probabilistic outcome of measurement, or just we can say as expectation value. So if you consider a system containing a particle, because system, let us say we have a particle in it, and that particle, its position and all details will be described by a wave function xi, which we have already seen in our first postulate. Again, if you are asked to find out its expectation value, let us say, remember you cannot find the expectation value just by considering a single system. You have to consider different number of identical systems and then find out its position or momentum or any physical quantity of the particle in each system, and then you have to take the average, which will be your expectation value of position or momentum or anything. So this postulate says that when a system is in a state described by xi, the expectation value of any observable A will be given as, expectation value is always denoted with these type of brackets, of that observable A will be equal to integration from minus infinity to plus infinity of xi star A cap xi into d tau. Here xi and xi star are the wave function and their conjugate, and on the LHS side within the brackets you have the observable. It may be position, momentum or any observable, and within the integral sign on the RHS side you are having the operator corresponding to that observable. Main thing here just to remember is your normalization condition is integration from minus infinity to plus infinity of xi star into xi into d tau, whereas your expectation value is something like the operator is sandwiched in between the wave function and its conjugate. Again it is integrated over the domain. So this expression is used if wave function is normalized. Let us say wave function is not normalized. Then First we need to normalize the wave function and then find out the expectation value. And we know for normalizing the wave function we need to multiply by the normalization constant. So the same thing we have done, we have already studied what actually is the normalization constant. So the expectation value of the observable A will be equal to integration from minus infinity to plus infinity of xi star A cap into xi into d tau divided by the normalization condition integration from minus infinity to plus infinity of xi star into xi into d tau. So this is the equation for finding out the expectation value. So in general thing, you can just remember expectation value is something like an average. So let us understand this using a problem. So here the problem is like a particle is constrained to move along x-axis in a domain 0 less than x less than L. So the particle is within the limit 0 to L. Again the wave function which describes the particle is given as xi of x is equals to sine of n by x by L, where n is any integer. The question is here to normalize the wave function and to evaluate the expectation value of its momentum operator. See, main thing here we need to remember is whenever they ask for expectation value, first we need to know whether the wave function is normalized or no. If the wave function is not normalized, then first step will be normalizing the wave function, and then next we have to find out the expectation value for the given operator. So here clearly they have mentioned both the steps. So first let us normalize the wave function. And the normalization condition is integration from minus infinity to plus infinity of xi star into xi into dx is equal to 1. Wave function is already given and the corresponding normalized wave function will be xi of x is equals to n into sine of n pi x by L, and the conjugate will be n star sine n pi x by L. So just you need to substitute, but the limit or domain is given. It is not running from minus infinity to plus infinity, but the x value, that is the particle is constrained to move along x-axis from 0 up till L. So lower limit will be 0, upper limit will be L. And when you solve it, you can just take n star into n outside, and the integration will be from 0 to L of sine square of n pi x by L into dx, which will be equal to 1. Here we need to find out n, that is the normalization constant. In order to solve this integral, directly we don't have any formula for sine square of theta. That's why we can just use the formula sine square theta is nothing but 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. The same thing I have used here. Then separately we can just integrate. That is 1 by 2 I have taken outside the integration sign. Then integration from 0 to L 1 minus cos 2 theta into dx equal to 1. So integration of 1 by 2, or 1 by 2 is outside, integration of 1 will be x from the limit 0 to L, it is going to be L minus 0, that is upper limit minus lower limit. So we are remaining with L. Integration of cos 2 theta will be sin theta divided by whatever coefficient is there with theta. So it will be sin 2 n pi x by L whole divided by 2 n pi divided by L. So when you put the limit from 0 to L, we get sin 2 n pi, because L and L will get cancelled, divided by the same term, but sin 2 n pi is nothing but 0. That's why finally we are getting n, which is the normalization constant, is equals to square root of 2 by L. That's why final wave function which is normalized will be Xi of x is equals to square root of 2 by L into sine n pi x by L. So first step of the problem, that is normalizing a wave function, is completed. Next we need to find out the expectation value of its momentum operator. So we have the expectation value of any operator or observable as the formula which we have seen, that is expectation value of A is equals to integration from minus infinity to plus infinity of xi star A cap into xi into d tau. Now we just need to find out the expectation value of momentum, and the particle is moving along x-axis, so that we can just take it as px. So expectation value of px will be equal to integration over a domain 0 to L xi star into operator corresponding to x component of momentum, that will be px cap into xi into dx. Now substituting the value of xi and xi star and simplifying, so minus ih cross corresponding to px cap can be taken outside the bracket. Square root of 2 by L into square root of 2 by L will be equal to 2 by L itself. L I have taken outside. Main point is sine of n pi x by L is kept as it is. Then we have dou by dou x of the second function. So we need to take the derivative of the second function, that is xi, which will be dou by dou x of sine n pi x by L, which is cos n pi x by L into n pi by L into dx, that is for integration. Then n pi by L can be taken outside the integration sign, and we know that 2 sine theta cos theta is nothing but sine 2 theta, that is the general formula. And within the integration we have the same form, and I have substituted it as integration from 0 to L of sine of 2 n pi x by L. Now integration is straightforward, that is constant minus I n pi h cross divided by L square outside, and the integral will be cos 2 n pi x by L whole divided by its coefficient, that will be 2 n pi by L over a limit from 0 to L. So when you substitute the upper limit and lower limit, the constants are kept outside. Cos 2 n pi is nothing but 1 minus cos 0. Cos 0 is again 1 itself. So 1 minus 1 is going to be equal to 0. So we can say for the given wave function, the expectation value corresponding to momentum operator is equals to 0. In the same way, we can just find out what is the expectation value corresponding to position or any component of momentum for any type of wave function, but the wave function should be normalized. So this is about the postulate number 3, which explains about the expectation value. So next, postulate number 4, which is with respect to eigenvalue, and postulate number 5, which is with respect to time development, will be taken up in next session. This is for today's session. Thank you.